Lower it down.
There you go, right into our
Hey,
face.
we're live, everybody.
There we go.
It's time to keep
call
the
this
tires
living?
and light the fires. The Bo Carver Show is on the air. The Monkey Crew is in place. And here's your head firemaster, Big Wheels, Bo Carver.
We're already putting fires out this morning. Oh, it's actually afternoon right now. Wow, it's way afternoon.
No, yeah.
Welcome to the Bo Carver Show. And, this is nothing but monkey business here, and we refuse every Sunday to not allow that not to happen. We invite the craziness of the monkey business crew, and it never fails to exist. It always happens. Something on this show will be out of whack, out of sorts, sooner or later, either in the beginning or the middle or afternoon or ending of the show. It will happen.
That's how it's out of sight.
And we appreciate you tuning in today. I am your host, Big Wheels Bo, and joining me as always is the purple one.
Purple one?
The purple one.
The purple one. And
Blaze
that
B,
is
Blaze B.
Barbary Ann Purple Haze. And
Peace.
she is running the Facebook live stream on the Bo Carver Show page. So if you'd like, you can join us by, I hope you're here already.
Danny's here.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Danny Fain. Thank you for joining in. Tell some friends and neighbors about us. Hit that like and love button and share it. Hit the share button so people can know we're on. And we are on the Bo Carver Show live channel page. And this these shows are archived. They'll be archived on and on YouTube as well here in the next day or two. And they're on demand. So if you feel like on demanding it, then probably the easiest way is to go to YouTube. Go to youtube.com and then search Bo Carver Show. And then look at, we got a ton of shows there, but this show will be up in the next day or two. Graham Knox Beer Bo Carver, he's in the house, is also a co-host.
Yay.
That's all I have to say.
Greetings, Curly.
You've been fed, so you should be able
He's
to talk
wavy.
today.
Hey, wavy.
We're going to call him Wavy Gravy.
Wavy gravy. Oh, that's worse than
Or graham
Gramps or the
cracker.
hamster.
Or graham cracker.
Or graham cracker. Or Cookie Dicky.
There you go. We heard that today.
I heard that today, too.
And he's up and at 'em today, and we appreciate him joining us as always, because I know the Bo Carver crew out there, the show page, loves Graham Knoxmere Bo Carver. Thank you for being here, my friend and son. I think
it's your honor.
Your honor.
Your honor.
It's my honor or your honor?
It's your honor.
Oh, okay.
You got to be nice to him, because one day he's going to choose your nursing home.
Yes. And then I'm.
You mean the street corner?
We've already met.
He's already got it planned.
I made him sign a prenup, a child prenup, way back in the day. He doesn't even know he remembers signing it, but I'm gonna bring it up to him one day.
Okay.
And he's gonna take care of me. He's changing my diapers here soon.
Yeah,
You
because I
changed
ain't
mine,
doing it.
until last month?
Yeah, a couple weeks.
So,
So it hasn't been changed in a month?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I'm trying to wing him, break him of the habit. And our guest today, thanks for being here today, the best-selling author, Michael Edwin Q. Now, this is not his first rodeo here on the show. He's been with us before, and he is a fantastic author and a good friend of ours. I've known him for about 70, 80 years, something along that lines.
Giving away your age.
You're giving away.
Yeah, well, So, and he's here today, too, because he's got a new book that's out. I was going to say coming out, but it's
No, it's out. It's been
already
out about 4 or 5 days.
So it's a brand new book, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first of all, I'd like to thank Tsunami Digital Network for empowering this show, and also the Mocha Coffee, mokk-a.com. If you go and if you'll hold it like this, more like that, then the light gets a little better.
Excuse me?
We're showing off the coffee.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Obviously, somebody's asleep on the production.
No, I'm inviting now. I just zoned in. Okay.
I think you're zoning out more than zoning in.
I've got a coffee.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were doing it.
I've got a coffee announcement.
Okay.
Starbucks just announced that they are going to start putting religious sayings on their coffee cups.
Really? I'm surprised at
yeah,
that.
the first one's going to say, "Oh my God, dear Lord, did I just pay $7 for
Yeah,
this?"
there you go. That's going to be a new.
That's going to be the new one.
That's going to be Psalms, what, 5,002? Well, and Mocha Coffee, let me tell you, that's the best coffee in the world. And from our sponsor, Karen Hawa from Holland.
I'm not going to say anything. I
know. You brought that up before.
I got to think for Holland.
And so thank you, Hawa. And there's 5 different flavors, blends, and you can get bean or ground. So when you order that, be sure and select the ones you want. And then when you do, put that where it says notes. Tell them you think Bo Carver's gorgeous.
OMG.
Oh, come on. Well, hey,
She'll love you for that.
If you take away his money, his looks, his charm,
He has
his
no money.
intelligence.
He has no intelligence.
I'm talking.
If you take it all away.
Take it all away. I mean, he reminds me of like George Clooney. If you took George Clooney's money,
I
and
wish you had George
everything
Clooney's.
out of the way.
Everything out of the way.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think
You see
George
the similarity?
Now I do.
George
Now you
Clooney,
do.
Hey, I'm starting to like it now.
we have
We'll
nothing
talk
in
later.
common. Except I do sing "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," and he mimicked it on that show, which is one of my favorite shows. Oh Brother, well, it was "In Constant Sorrow" is the name of the song, but the movie's
Why
"Oh
do you
Brother,
keep
Art
Why do you
Thou."
keep pointing at me?
Because you like that song too. We
I love
play
that
it together.
song.
Okay.
It's a wonderful song.
So thank you again for joining us, and we're just going to get right into this. Michael Edwin Q. He just recently put out a audio version, and we're not going to talk about that book just yet. He just put out a recent audio version of a book of what? Which one?
Born a Colored Girl.
Born a Colored Girl, and let me tell you,
I know. We're very happy. We're very happy and very, just
it's
proud.
fantastic.
Yeah, proud.
And I got to meet the voices of that here
Yeah, a
about
couple of the
2
main
or 3
voices.
weeks ago. And what a joy that was. It was a great meeting. And they were very, very sweet people. And the production of that was great, of the audio portion of
Michael
that.
Lederer did that. Yeah.
Yes, and met him. Great guy. And the 2 young ladies.
Yeah, that's Nita McKeithen.
Okay.
Played one part, and the other one was Jermaine Brown.
Okay, but you had another voice too that wasn't.
No, we had
that.
other voices, but they were all short pieces.
Okay.
And they played the main parts.
Well, I'm telling you, if you're like me and don't like to actually read,
or don't know how,
which probably encompasses me too, then order this book in audio form, because it's not like just listening to somebody just read to you. It becomes alive. It's like
a movie.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
like
they
a
did a
movie that
great job.
comes alive with these audio voices about this book. And where can they get that?
You can get that on Amazon. Just
Okay.
go to Amazon. When you go to my books on Amazon, Michael Edwin Q, you'll see Born a Colored Girl. It'll say you could buy the book, you could buy the ebook, or you could buy the audio. And just hit where it says go to the audio and listen to the sample. It's free. And you'll get to see what we're talking about. They did a great job. And it was so funny at the get together for the premiere. Those 2 girls who did the main part, one played the mother and one played the daughter, and they never met each other. That was the first time they'd ever seen each other.
Well, I'm sure that happens a lot in movies and a lot of other things, where you come in and do your portion, your spot, and you might be doing something really fantastic with that person. You don't even ever met them.
Yeah, I know. And that's what happened in this case, because they would go in the studio separately and then do their part, go home, and then somebody else come the next day.
Well, they were both very sweet ladies, and they did a phenomenal job. Now, what happens when they order that audio-wise? How does that sent to the people when they...
Nowadays, like everything else, it's just download
Okay.
into whatever you
So
want.
they would email it to you, like, or
they will
is that
email
how
it,
they-
and you could download it into whatever you want.
Or whatever
Or
device.
if you belong to Audible, it's free.
Oh,
Yeah, if you belong to Audible, just like Select,
right.
all you got to do is you're a member. Part of your membership, which you pay $10 a month, is it, or something like that? You could just download it, and as a member. If not, it's like $17.99 or something like that.
Well, there you go. You got a couple options there, but I challenge you to get that book, and it's Born a Colored Girl. And you will be fascinated by Michael Edwin Q's writings. And that's Michael, like you would spell Michael, and then Edwin, Edwin, and then the letter Q.
Yeah.
And it's capitalized Q. That's 3 names, Michael Edwin Q. So when you go to Amazon.com and search for Michael Edwin Q books, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll find them, order them, and when you have notations down at the bottom and notes that you'd like to say, tell them that Bo Carver's gorgeous.
Yeah, put that under the review. Give me a
Yeah.
5-star review.
Yeah.
Bo Carver and George Clooney
Yeah,
are
brothers separated at birth.
So is that Michael A.E. or E.L.?
Michael.
Okay.
That's how you spell Michael.
Well, I've met plenty of people with E.A.L.
Yeah, some
Have you
people
really?
do crazy stuff.
But that's more a European style.
Oh,
And there's also, we've seen it like craziness, like Mikle.
M-Y-K-L, yeah.
All these different spellings. But it's the regular Michael spelling, Michael, Edwin, Edwin, the letter Q as a separate word, Michael Edwin Q.
Go figure.
And really, the stuff is fantastic. The writing is a best-selling author, and you will totally enjoy these books. And now we're going to discuss his new book that's just been released about 3 or 4 days ago.
Let me show it off.
And I'm sure you can get that on Amazon too, right?
Yeah, just look up
Remember,
Michael Edwin Q
and
on Amazon.
Lean it forward like that.
But I will tell you, if you want to save some money,
Here he goes.
and you're buying the book. If you like ebooks, just download it from Amazon. It's the best way to go. If you want to save some money on the paperback itself, go to my publisher's website, which is advbookstore.com. It's Advantage Books. ADV Bookstore, not stores. advbookstore.com, and they don't have a big library, but my books are there, and you can buy them half the price of Amazon. And don't tell Amazon I did this. They'll get after me.
Yeah. Well, now, does advbookstore.com have all your books?
Yes. All my books that are in paperback.
Okay.
I have a few that we never put into book form yet. We will.
The great thing about paperback is that it's lighter and it's easier to carry around. And you'll enjoy that. Did you plan on putting this book on audio as well at some point?
We'll see.
Well, it's already kicking butt. I understand.
It hit number 7 last night.
How about that?
So that's I'm very very pleased. We'll see if it keeps going at the rate it's going. Yeah, I think I will. Talk to the producer of the audio company, AudioForever.com. Everybody's a .com now. AudioForever.com, and see what they want to do. If this sells as well as Sport a Colored Girl, yeah, I guess we'll do it.
Now, your claim to fame, though, was Pappy Moses?
Well, that's how it started with Pappy Moses. But the one that sold the biggest, gave me the award of bestseller, was But Not Have Love. And
is that B-U-T or B-U-T-T?
B-U-T, but. Oh, we're getting there. We're in trouble. Okay.
So, Pappy Moses was your first book that was out?
First book that started to sell.
Right. Well,
I had other books out, and they were just, they were
you.
taking up space. So,
Well, they may come back.
They may come back. You never know.
It's kind of like a singer that, they go back when they become really famous, like you're becoming, and then they dig these songs that have been archived in like the Beatles or Elvis, like, here's a recording they did in his living room.
Right.
And,
I hope so.
I hope so. That may happen.
But Pappy Moses' Peanut Plantation was my first mover. And
tell us a little snippet about that book, because people that don't know you, you really write in that era quite a bit.
Yeah, I write in that era, and I write that genre. But I want to emphasize that a lot of people. In fact, I met a woman at church today. She was saying, "Oh, that sounds nice, but I don't like war movies or books. It's not. I don't write that. I write about relationships,
It may have taken place during that era,
it may take,
but it's not about the war.
No, it's not about the war's going on.
Right, of course.
And you hear about it and it's over the hill. But
Right.
no, we're talking about relationships. Pappy Moses is loosely based on Moses, Pappy Moses. What they do is through inheritance, somebody dies and leaves a black man a plantation, a peanut plantation.
Wow.
Yeah, and he starts to run it. He makes a big success of it, and his wife dies, and he's left with a daughter, and she marries. Of course, she's black, and she marries one of the white men in the area.
Okay.
And he uses the white man, his son-in-law, whenever somebody comes on the property,
to be like the owner.
Yeah, he plays the owner whenever, and then when he's gone,
Then he
runs the place. And so they start to become a success. And what happens after that is they start to take the money they're making, and they start to buy slaves. But not just any slaves. They're buying family members. So like planning on getting all the family members together.
Now don't give the plot totally away.
No, you got to see how it happens. And the plot is that they plan to get all their relatives in one place, and then they're going to go north on an exodus.
Well, now, so you need to get that book.
I love that one.
That is a great book, and then you went to the one that really got your career really kicked off. What was that one again?
But Have Not Love.
But Have Not Love. Now give a little snippet about that one.
It's by accident a Confederate soldier and a black runaway meet and have to rely on each other if they're going to survive.
How sweet
Now
is that?
that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and they do not like each other.
Well, obviously. I mean,
But they
Surprise!
surprise! But they have to rely on each other. And I'll give this away, one part away, only because if you look at the reviews, it's my bestseller, but at the same time, I've gotten more people angry about that book, and I'll never do this again. It does not have a happy ending. And I got more letters. So I love the book. And then that happened. I hate you. I hate you. What did you do that for?
Well, not everything's always
I know,
hunky-dory.
but, yeah.
People have to realize that we do live in a world that doesn't always have happy endings. And, and sometimes, like when I watch a movie and it doesn't, I may not really not care, but you got to realize that that's how things really are a lot of times.
Well, hey, we all read Romeo and Juliet.
That didn't turn out.
That
so
didn't
well.
turn out so good either. Bunch of crazy teenagers.
Yeah, those crazy guys.
Crazy teenagers.
What are they doing? Eating that Tide Pods or something?
I'm glad we're having fun. I hope you are too. But
oh, leave it to that Romeo and Juliet. Start that, right?
yeah.
So that's an interesting book too. That's fantastic, and y'all need to check that out. Need to check out all the Michael Edwin Q books on Amazon or at MDV.
ADV bookstore.com. Hey, if you want to connect with me, you can go to my website too, which is michaeledwinq.com. You can get on my mailing list and let you know where I'm going to be doing any speaking engagements, what books are coming out, how you can get them cheaper, things like that, or just
you can tell him that you can't stand him because he didn't have a happy ending.
Yeah, or if you didn't like the ending, you can call me.
Yeah, call
whatever.
him.
That's michaeledwinq.com. And it's getting renovated as we speak. So because it's very,
it's up on our Facebook. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, but it's like, we got to update it. Everything's getting old. You noticed?
Yes.
Don't look at me.
Hey, all I know is
why are you looking at me?
all I know is when I get
I
naked.
think you're looking over Barbie Ann.
No, she's beautiful, but you. I mean,
but
me.
you.
But you.
But not for love.
But not have love. But have not love. Okay? Well, nowadays when I get naked, the only thing that gets turned on is my shower. That's it.
Oh boy, Constance, I'm glad you're at work.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, she's working. Plus, she's shopping.
Oh,
she's got to spend the money.
There you go.
But hey, like they say, money talks and mine says goodbye.
Oh, how funny.
That's it right there. That's two words, right?
Yeah, and
Goodbye.
I don't care because I have enough money to last me. If I die by 3 o'clock this afternoon,
we better get the show going.
Get the show over real quick because I only got like 4 hours to go.
That's funny. So then we had Barn a Color Girl,
and
then that's the one we just spoke about putting
doing
in
an audio.
And that is fantastic. Y'all definitely need to check
Michael
that
Lederer and the girls did a great job. It's just listen to the sample and you're gonna go. In fact, it gives you the sample alone will give you chills.
Yes,
they
does.
did such a great job.
And then now we move to Fancy. And this is also during the same genre.
Yeah,
it's the same
thing.
Era. And kind of along the same lines during that time of the Civil War, right?
But it has nothing to do with the war.
It has nothing to do with the war. It's the backdrop.
Circumstance.
It's the time frame of the Civil War. And Fancy was written by the great Michael Edwin Q. And give us a little snapple.
Sort of reminds me of the Reba
Give us a little
McEntire
snapple
song.
of this.
Yeah, I've heard of some things like that.
Have you heard that song?
Yeah. And what this is about. I was doing research ever since I started writing about that time period. I did some research and found out that pretty black slave girls were being pulled out, bought from schools that would educate them to be mistresses of rich white plantation owners. They would actually teach them how to speak, how to read, which was against the law in some places.
Yeah.
How to cook, how to just be a good conversationist, how to groom yourself, and of course to be a great lover. And this is the story of one, and they were called fancies.
Gotcha.
And that's how she became a fancy, or they call them fancy ladies or fancy girls. And this is the story of one girl who gets sold to one of these schools and decides she's going to stay true to herself.
Now, did they stay at the schools?
No, she's gone. She has to escape, and they have to.
No. But I mean, in general, as far as during that time, were they basically owned by the schools?
Yeah, the school themselves. The schools would buy them, and then they would try. Then they would spend a year doing what they want with them, and then they would sell them for a profit.
Wow.
Okay.
But by then, they were so well groomed and such demand, they went for high bucks.
And when was this? What era?
Like
Civil War.
Like 1860s. Yeah, around 1860 to 1868 or something like that. This went on. Actually, after the war, it really went. Pew.
So you got all your information from true things and turned it into a fiction?
But I kind of interweaved a lot of things.
He brought things into personal perspectives.
Yeah.
And how you would be probably, if it was you, if you were Fancy or you were Pappy Moses, or you kind of lived like you're telling stories if you were there.
Right. I tried to, of course.
And
the only thing is this one, and I'm going to say it's, I may shoot myself in the foot. This one, although I'm very pleased with it, very proud of it, it's not for everybody. This is a little rougher than all my other books.
Subjects.
The subject matter is, I even put it down that
warning.
Well, not a warning, but like Amazon always says, well, what's the age group? I said no one under 18 should really go into this. And some people are going to be squeamish about it. It's a rough book to get through. My editor, Nancy Sabatini in Florida. She called me when she got the manuscript because I sent it to her to do some editing, and she says, "You sure you want to put this out?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "It's rough." I said, "But that's the truth."
Well, that's just the rough draft.
Yeah, no, but it's kind of like
it hits home. It's hard.
Yeah, it's a very hard.
Again, life is not always easy,
right?
And I think this is what people need to realize. We've moved in an era in our social ills that everything's supposed to be great, pat them on the head, no discipline, none of that kind of stuff, and so we lose sight and focus of that. Bad things do happen.
I'm afraid so.
People do die.
No, they don't.
People
They
get
live
run
forever.
over. People do
suffer.
get shot. People get
sold
people
into-
suffered.
There are
And
plenty.
back in the day, those kind of things happen.
We still
But-
have sex
Yeah.
slaves.
But
Yes, that's true.
understand the topic is very heavy and a little rough at times. I always keep it clean.
Right.
Right.
I always keep it clean. It reminds me a lot, and I said this to my editor, to Nancy Sabatini. I said, and you could look her up too. She's a great editor. I said, if you remember, do you remember the movie Psycho?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a ton of people who will not shower anymore for the rest of their lives because of that shower scene in Psycho.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And when the board of directors was looking at the movie, they called Alfred Hitchcock and they said, we can't put this movie out. And he said, why? He said, because of all the...
Gonna freak everybody
Go
out.
for everybody did.
I
But
did.
they said, no, there was too much nudity and violence. And he went over to them and he says, let's look at each frame. There is no violence. You never see anybody get stabbed. You never see
Oh.
any nakedness. But it was so harsh, so suggestive that their
That's
brain
the-
said,
right.
there's too
Oh,
much
my
sex and
gosh.
violence. And they looked at it again. They go, no, there's no nudity at
Your
all. in
brain
that scene.
took that over, right?
Yeah. Your brain goes, ah,
It
and
sees
that's
what was intended to be seen.
yeah. And I just there's a lot of intent in here, but it's clean. It's
Cool.
clean, but you know what's going on, which I go by the formula of the old days in the movie. When you knew they were going in the bedroom, the lights went out, and then you faded
The door shut.
because
and
we
that
all
was
know
it.
what
Yeah.
they did. You
Yeah.
know, and nowadays we got to watch them.
Yeah. That's it.
That's
That's
another
on a
show.
rated
That's a different show.
PG-13 show. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
that's TV.
Yeah.
Well, we want to encourage you to check these books out because this is a great author. He's a best-selling author, Michael Edwin Q. And share the word, and get on there. Go to Amazon, or go to ADV
Bookstore. ADV Bookstore.
It's on Facebook.
So
got it.
I am curious.
Okay.
So reading the summary of this book,
Mhm.
or a snippet of it,
Mhm.
it does mention her struggles with the Lord and
Yeah,
how that
that-
affects her.
Now that's
vision
an
with
interesting
this.
point.
Well, yeah. Well, how I got that idea.
Great question,
Well,
Carver.
how I got that idea, that's a good point, and you picked it up. How I got that idea was I read a book by, and that was years ago, and don't read this book because it really is graphic, but he's a great writer, was Marquis de Sade, a Frenchman, and that's how we get the word sadist from his name.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Marquis de Sade, sadist.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's how it comes from. And he wrote a book about a woman, a young girl, who goes through a lot of hardships. And no matter how much she goes through a hardship, she never loses her faith. She just keeps praying. And for most of the book, nothing's working. Something bad happens, so you pray and say, Lord, take this away, and it gets worse. And that's a little bit of what I did here. This girl does not give up on her faith, but that doesn't mean she's not going to go through anything. And it's the
Right,
same
right.
thing with all of us. You say, Lord, please,
First of all, it rains on the just and the unjust.
yeah,
That's what the Bible says.
and it could rain a long time.
And it can do that. Well, ask Job that question. He'll
yeah,
tell you what
yeah,
happened.
right. So it's a very Jobistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, she stays true to herself.
No
and
matter
her belief.
how much.
No, how
of
much
this she goes
where
through.
where she gets there are points in the book where anybody would say, "Are you out of your mind? Give it up."
Curse God and die. That
yeah,
whole
curse
thing.
God and die, and she's not going to do it.
Okay.
Well, that's
That's a good point. You
that's-
picked it up real
That's
good.
very, very fantastic right there. So, in a lot of ways, even though it's kind of upsetting or challenging, that should be an uplifting part of the book.
I believe it is. I
And-
believe
and,
it is. If they like your son caught on that, it's a
Keep
great
the
part.
faith.
Keep
Yeah.
the faith, baby, and it's not always going to be pleasant.
Yep.
Well, and because we live on Earth, which I think is kind of a portion of hell. I mean, it's kind
That's
of like
another
hell
show
is.
and another subject. Yeah.
we are definitely not living in heaven. But
You notice?
the thing about it is that I think that when you're challenged like that in the fancy or some of these other circumstances in real life today in a lot of different ways, and I've seen a lot of things, a lot of questions. We watch ID channel, and I see a lot of a lot of people that are murdered or done bad things too, and they're good Christian people.
Yeah.
And the first question is people want to ask is, why would God allow that to happen? Well, God does not allow that to happen. It's the way society is. People become evil, and your path, if you're in the path of evil, there's no discrimination. It doesn't matter if you're a person of God or not or whatever. It's like a lawnmower that cuts grass. You know, if that poor frog is in the way, the frog doesn't have any bad vibes against you, but it's just what happens. You know, you just get run over. And unfortunately, that's just why it says it rains on the just and the unjust. But I believe that if you keep your faith, and especially people that go through harder things, I do believe in the hereafter and getting very special rewards. I do believe that.
I think you're right. I more than think you're right. I know you're right.
So I think that these books, I really... Okay, first of all, I've known Michael Edwin Q for a very long time. Very talented individual. He was very talented as a singer and a guitarist, playing out for years.
Yeah. As a young man.
As a young man. We didn't know about that.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot of talent in this gentleman, and the books have really been the thing that has gotten you really rocking.
My life changed.
That's your life.
Yeah, it's my life now, and it's very blessed. Yeah.
When did you decide to become a writer? What made you say this is what I'm going to do?
Well, I think I'll try to make it quick, because I said this once before. I started writing at 12, and I sold my first piece at 12.
Wow.
And then excuse me, I enjoyed it so much. I always wrote. I wrote all my life, but then when I got into my teens, I realized, especially in those days, a nerd who writes books or stories is not going to make it with the girls as much as a musician. So I became a musician, and I did well with that till I don't want to say.
Well, you wrote songs,
I
right?
wrote songs, and I got them published, and eventually I wrote some songs, and I put them on tape, and I was going to send the tape out to some publishers to see if I could sell them, because I had sold them that way before, and they were so dated sounding. They were good,
right,
but they were dated. Like I said,
right.
they were perfectly made for the Monkees, and they had already
they're gone.
They were gone 20, 30 years ago, and I said, that's it. I might be a good songwriter, but I'm so irrelevant now. I'm going to go back to writing. So I wrote a couple of things, and I was always interested in slavery and the Holocaust, and I wrote a lot about that.
Now, I want to interrupt you.
Go ahead, please.
And why, and I kind of know why a little bit, because we all probably have a lot of interest in those things. Why was it really drawn to you about that?
I just like injustice alone just drives me crazy, and that's probably the two.
That is probably because it's crazy that it happened.
Yeah, it is insane.
The Holocaust,
is insane,
as well as
and slavery is insane. You know,
Yeah.
the whole thing is like.
How in the hell did that ever happen?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You know, it's something that shouldn't happen. It's an injustice that, you know, it's if you get angry when someone cuts you off, then that's nothing compared to slavery.
Right.
And the injustice and the Holocaust. It just I wrote about other things.
How that as humanity that we could allow that to ever happen.
And I just kept
Inhumane,
writing
yeah.
about it. And what I did is I started with short stories, and I wrote for magazines for like 20, 25 years. And then eventually I wrote a short story about a slavery story. And I sent it to a art affair literary award, and I won it. I came in first place. And I said, gee, if I could get first place.
There goes those monkey songs.
Yeah, there goes the monkey songs. All the guy. And so as soon as I won that, I said, well, now I should move over to the books, because I had not touched writing a book for 20 years. I just wrote short stories, and I did well. And then I wrote Pappy Moses. I put it out, and it sat for 2 years. As you know, things like that happen. And all of a sudden, it just started to sell. So I said, well, gee, if I could sell one, I could sell another.
It got you on the bicycle rolling.
Right,
a little bit.
and I wrote another one in the same genre. Boom, sold. Third, boom. Fourth, boom. So I just keep doing. And and I probably keep doing it. I'm enjoying it.
Well, there's a lot of things to write about that era.
Yeah, that
one.
and Holocaust. I mean,
And
how many stories?
You haven't even started writing about that yet, have you?
Actually I have. I just haven't put any out yet.
Okay. Well, I'm sure your brain, with it being a great writer that you are, I'm sure there's just so much information out there and so much data in your brain that you could probably just sit here and write 24 hours a day with what comes across your brain.
I do that every day. 7 days a week. I put in about 8 hours.
Wow.
But
And is that just when you just say, like, if you had nothing, nothing in front of you, is it like an artist that's going to build a clay structure? You just sit down and kind of force yourself. I'm sitting down.
No, I don't have to.
And by gosh,
It's there. You don't have to
it's
force
there.
nothing.
It's all right. I'm going to tell some little secrets the way I feel about certain things. I work with a lot of young writers, and I tell them right off, if you want to be a writer, you're probably not going to succeed because you want to be a writer. It's not how it works.
Right.
You have to love it so much, all you want to do is write. Let other people call you a writer.
That's a good point.
They got this image in their mind. I'm going to be smoking a pipe and
Stephen King,
and I'm going to
up
be
in the mountains,
right. And
writing a
I'm going to
book.
be this, and I'm going to make tons of money, and I'm going to have an ascot on.
There's my little pen.
My
writing
little pen. That's wanting to be a writer. No, you want to write. And I want to sell my books. Why? Because that's how I make my living, so I can keep writing.
Right.
I just enjoy it so much to sit there and work out things that and sometimes I'm even doing it when I'm talking to other people. So I'm sorry, but I'm trying to.
So you're writing a book right now.
I'm writing a book right now. In the back of my head, I'm
Exactly.
going, well, then what if he said this? Or what if he said... I live in a world of what if. And no, if you love to write, you will write. And if you keep that attitude and keep doing it and love it, you will succeed. At what level, I can't tell you. Because you will get better.
Right.
Because you just keep writing and writing. I read stuff that I wrote.
Your whole point that you're trying to say is it really doesn't matter whether anybody reads it or not. You just want to write.
I'm going to be writing anyway.
That's your passion.
That's my passion, so I will do it. I'm not saying I want to be a writer. No, I want to write.
It's
So
like
you would be just happy writing for yourself.
Yes, and I pretty much do that. And like I said, I want to sell books because I make my living that way, and that allows me to get up in the morning,
write more freely.
Write more freely.
And we were talking about how someone requested you doing a sequel to one of your books, and so that'd be doing it for
them.
for someone else.
Yeah.
You want to write about what you enjoy,
And, you know what's in my head at the moment. That I sit and I
and
have
you
a great
can't
time.
force yourself to write a sequel.
I could force myself,
But it
but I'm
wouldn't
not
be as
enjoying
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth.
Not
the
to
time.
me, it is. You know,
Okay.
and then I'd be doing it to make money and to be a writer.
And you'd be a writer then.
Yeah,
instead
then
of
I'd be a
just
writer.
someone who loves writing.
Well-
As opposed to I just love to do this. And the thing is, when you love to do it, you'll do it often. The more often you do it,
the better you
the better
get.
you're going to get. You will succeed.
And you
I'm
never work a
guaranteed.
day in your life if you love it.
Yeah,
That's a good
never.
point.
It's every day's a holiday.
So,
Well, here's the thing too: is that it's kind of like anything. It's kind of a calling for people, no matter what they do in their life. Maria Bauer, for example, is a good example
we've
of
had
her
her.
having a passion about something. If you are being in the ministry, if you have a passion for that, you have a calling for that, you have that kind of makeup, it's in your
it's in your
soul,
Yeah.
then you're going to want to minister or bring about stuff like that, whether you have nobody listen or 1,000.
Right.
It's in your heart and in your soul,
Yeah.
and that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Sort of like this radio show.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
so. Whether we have anybody listen or not, we're doing the
It's
show
all
because we have a passion
So-
for it.
so-
Or somebody does.
how much do you do? Maybe brainstorming, rough drafts. How much of it do you do on paper?
On paper, the only time I really use paper is when I'm on a vacation because I don't like to use a laptop. But most of it's I hate to say it, most of it just stays in my brain. I play with a story for like a year.
Just
And
in your brain.
In my brain, I'm thinking about that story. I'm thinking about that
I
story. A
can
year
see
goes
that.
by, and then all of a sudden I sit down and I tell my wife, now the rest is dictation. It's already written.
Wow.
I know what I'm going to say. I know the beginning. I know the middle. I know the end. Maybe through the journey I'll go, Yeah, but I'm going to give him a mustache, you know. But,
Right, I got
so
you.
something will change.
You've done the rough draft and
It's all
edited it and revised it all in your head, and now
And then I put it down, and then I go through it about 4 more times, and then I send it to the editor. and
Well,
she-
in the book, you then start doing dialogues.
Yeah.
Because then it gets
Yeah.
more decisive of what you're
right,
saying.
and it changes because as you're writing it, you'll get to know the places and the
The
people,
individual,
and you
right?
go, she would never do that. Let me
Right.
go back, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's
or
cool.
or that's she's more like this, and they start to gel more, and then more gets added and added and added.
do you ever see someone or see a picture of someone or see
Yeah.
a drawing and then think, that's how I imagine my character?
I did that with Pappy Moses. Pappy Moses, I wanted an elderly black man with white hair. And Rex Ingram, who was a black actor in the 30s, 40s, you've seen him and you probably don't know him. He did a movie called Green Pastures, where he plays God. And I said, that's it. I even told the guy who does my covers, I said, that's the face I want, you know, and I used it through the whole book. And
so in your head, when you imagine these characters, do they have faces?
Not
Oh,
at
yeah.
first. They do, but the faces get so much clearer as you live with them for a while. And then they wake you up in the middle of the night and say, you don't leave me here on the boat
So when
it's sinking. You know,
When you-
okay, I'm sorry.
when you
They start
become
becoming something.
when you become a writer, that means you'll start hearing voices.
Yeah.
You then become a schizophrenic?
Schizophrenic, yes, yeah. Well,
You have friends and places
I
nobody knows.
I listen to the voices in my head. I also listen to the voices in my wife's head too. You know?
Oh yeah, more often.
Don't
than-
worry, I'm going to go water. I would
Yeah.
love plant.
Yeah, I'm gonna mow.
I'm going to mow.
Well, listen, we can't thank you enough for being on the show today.
Thank you, man. Thank
Again, this is Michael Edwin Q, best-selling author, and he's got several books that you can find on Amazon. The newest book that we really kind of brought him on today that just was released here the last 2 or 3 days is called Fancy. And this is a book that you'll definitely want to check out. It takes place during the Civil War era, but it's not about war. It's about a story of a young lady that's considered a fancy.
A fancy.
That's what they're called back in the day. And but you can check that book out. Also, you can check out a lot of his other books, and you can get the one on audio that is Born a Colored Girl.
Yeah.
So, and that audio of that book is phenomenal, and I hope you really put a lot of your books in audio because
I'm
It's the only way my father will ever
Read
get to finish
any
it.
of my stuff. You
I
know?
have to have somebody read it to me.
You
We
won't sit still long
Yeah,
enough
we
for
sit
that.
down at night, and I tuck him in, and then I get to read some Michael
Right,
Edwin Q right there.
right.
I think you would like his books. That they're your era.
Some of
they're
them
your
are.
type.
Some of them, I think
Yeah.
you would. Yeah. And I tried that.
He's got a very mature mind. He
He
loves
does, he
history.
does.
loves war. He loves those eras that you're talking about. So he's a unique
Well, I'm gonna,
child.
this is your copy. So.
Do I get to
Oh,
keep that one? Did you
fantastic.
sign
Because
it?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
of course.
Got
All
it.
right.
All right. And like I said, if you want to buy buy my stuff at,
go.
Blah, blah.
at Amazon,
Amazon.
of course, and
Or go to your website.
or go to my website, which is
Or-
michaeledwinq.com. Get on my mailing list, or go to advbookstore.com and get it a lot cheaper than Amazon's selling it for.
Well, I will tell you, you are a very special
Ooh.
type of writer,
Well, thank you.
because I've talked to multiple authors who all have these different, very unique processes, and then I've talked to the people who want to be those authors, and who have their very ununique, or is it ununique? Yeah.
Well, we understand it.
Yeah. So, the chasing your own path in the way you do, and writing your own way is very special, and I love meeting people
Thank
who
you.
do that.
Thank you. I do. I like that.
Well, you'll always be a friend of mine because we've been friends for about 80 or 90 years.
Yeah,
so
now it's going from 70 to 90.
Yeah, well,
you know.
Boy, you aged him in the
I
show.
know,
It
grew
grew
on
on
the
a long
show.
show.
Well, I want to make sure that we stay good friends before 3 o'clock
Yeah.
rolls
Yeah,
around.
but 3 o'clock rolls around, but
You're out of
my
your
money,
money.
my
Your
money
money
runs
runs
out.
out.
Sure enough, we'll go back to the
but
days
she's
of
not,
ancient Greece.
Yeah, but my wife's not talking to me anyway, because last night she said, "You ruined my birthday. You ruined my birthday," and I said, I couldn't have ruined your birthday. I didn't even know it was your birthday. You know?
Oh my gosh!
And now she's out shopping.
Yeah.
No.
Now she's ruined
With your credit card.
That
I
runs
my
out at
credit
3
card.
o'clock.
That
yeah.
runs out. Well,
Never
the
ending.
money runs out. I peak at 3 o'clock.
How funny.
So nice meeting you, folks.
Graham Knoxmere, Bo Carver.
Yep.
Love you
Yep.
as always. Thank you for being
Great.
not only here to do the show, but for being my son.
Well, I don't know if that was.
You throw that together. That's great.
I don't know if that was my choice. I feel like that was more of a.
I don't think it was either one of our choices, but it happened. Purple Haze, thank you for being on the show.
Can I say something
I have to
before
go
Let
home
him
with
say.
these
He's,
two.
he's going to drag this out.
Okay,
Let's go ahead.
no,
Let's go
that's
ahead.
He does. I think he does. I think he loves me. I'm pretty positive. Sometimes he gives me false,
If we feed
mirages.
you, we love you. We're trying to keep you
That's
alive.
true.
We do feed you at least.
Well, and if you
Well,
don't
that's
feed
by
me,
law.
I act like I don't love you. I get real
Get thrown in
upset.
jail for
Yeah.
that.
No, but he does love me. This is all a joke, right? You're just joking when you say something, right? No, I love you, Father.
Yes.
And,
Yeah. Okay.
You're not allowed to do that anymore.
I don't
Oh.
care. I'm a lawbreaker.
That's another show.
I do love you, Graham Knoxmere, Bo Carver. Without
That's
your
reaffirmed.
expertise, half of this stuff on this show wouldn't even work. So yes, I do love you.
That is true.
We have a great relationship, and until next Sunday, we'll see you then. Michael Edwin Q, as always,
Thank you for
great
having me.
guest. You'll always be popping in and out for things we need you for our other shows
Great.
because
Love
you've
it.
already done that before. And enjoy your week. Be blessed over the weekend. Go
a veteran.
Cowboys, and
Love your veterans.
God bless.
we love you.
Peace out.